back up on Commissioner Palmer.
The contribution to Humane Society is where I was going next.
It's your turn.
So, several of us have been contacted by people from the Humane Society about questioning the use of the funds. I don't see a Humane Society representative here to ask any questions about, but I do have some questions about utilizing a building to house animals that's not designed, the floor is not designed to handle animal waste. In the comments that they have money reserved to buy from, but when you look at the funding wasn't there a year ago until we gave $125,000 apartment fund. And the last conversation I had with Mr. Toll asked if he had a capital projects fund, and he said no, but they didn't pull from our checking account. And then now all of a sudden we have enough funds to buy manufactured home. I think there's some serious concerns about where our ARPA funding is going to.
What's your proposal for?
I think what we need to do, and this is just discussing and trying to figure out what could be done. The $30,000 that we've allocated for the Humane Society, we can stipulate where that money goes to. If they have a service, if they have a company or organization that comes up to the Humane Society to provide spay and neuter services, and that company turns in a receipt of services they provided to the county, and then the county pays that company. So we could look at something, maybe doing it like that. If they just hand over $30,000, it may or may not be. And I hate to be that blunt about it, but it may or may not be put to good use.
I think, in addition to that, I think there's a case to be made that we gave them a substantial amount of money. And, given the state of the budget, it may not take the full 30 to do this spay and neuter program. We can save some money doing it that way. And I'll just say this, and I don't know what kind of reaction this may get, but several of us on this commission stuck our necks out for the Humane Society. And I know Commissioner Roach did. He drafted a resolution, as he talked about the other night, and I voted to support it. And it's not been anything but a big dramatic mess since the beginning. And so I'll go with the pleasure of the board, because I'm not sticking my neck out for them again. So that's my thoughts on it. So if that's what you gentlemen would like to do, I'll certainly support it.
I think from a contribution aspect, we're really got to look at what's the dollar accomplishing? What is the donation that we're making? What's the return on that donation? What's the goals that we're trying to accomplish? And I fully support trying to still do something for the problem that we have of animals in the community that are not that are roaming at large or even for it. This actually is more preventative, I think, than $30,000 of just handing it to them. It's more addressing a problem. And it also is something that allows, it's an investment on it at that point towards the future of the problem and trying to get ahead of it. I think it's really a good idea. It's not like we're just pulling the funding and not addressing the problem at all now. It's still either Commissioner Palmer's got a proposed solution, just got to figure out how to look at that. That's going to be still true, addressing the root cause of the expansion of animals and addressing it towards the future. So I would fully support looking at something like that as well.
I would support that also.
I guess, Eric, for budget purposes, that's something we can do. We can specify this funding be paid out to a spay and neuter service.
You do have the authority to do that. As far as it flowing through the county, I'd have to defer to audit and make sure that they're all right with that. But we have done something similar in the past when ERT was dealing with their issues. We temporarily paid their bills on their behalf because we didn't feel comfortable giving them their contribution, but we didn't want to bankrupt them at the same time. So I don't see there being a problem with it, but I've never asked that particular question. But I don't see why they couldn't bring us those spay and neuter bills and us pay out their contribution as a reimbursement for those bills.
So, after we heard from them the other night, here's the thing that I have found. People will call you and tell you a lot of things and speak about a lot of things. I'd like to see some evidence of what I've been told. And I truly believe that you're innocent until you're proven guilty. And I want to assume that, there's a misunderstanding or there's something somewhere. But if what has been reported to me is true, then I would be fine pulling the funding altogether, to be honest. But I'm not there because I don't have evidence of it. All I have is word of mouth. So, what I would tell the community is, if the concerns that have been reported to me are as dire as they've been described as, they need to make a report to the state comptroller's office. And that's not me recommending that as a part of the commission necessarily. That's me recommending that as a citizen who has made donations. I go by there and give them a check every so often. Some of the things that have been reported, if they're true, then the comptroller needs to look into that to see if there's anything going on there. And there may be nothing. And to be honest, if the comptroller investigates them, if they were to do that, and they're clean, then it sounds to me like, it's all been a big, as Mr. Gillum described it, bunch of drama. But I would like to have evidence as opposed to just word of mouth. And maybe it's been having been a middle school principal for as many years as I have, people say a lot of things sometimes. So anyway, if we want to restrict, I would support restricting funding. But in the meantime, if there's other issues that are going on with Humane Society, I certainly hope that they get resolved soon. Because as I told Ms. Catterson the other night, the money that we gave them specifically was for animal housing and animal housing alone. That's what it was for. And if they want to purchase a manufactured home with an office and a cat room and a medical facility or whatever they have decided to do, and they do that with money they raised, even in the matching funds, if they raise that money, I don't care what they use it for. But money that was given to them by the commission that came from ARPA funds needs to go to what their intent was, and that was to provide a building with housing for animals, and that alone. And that's just my 2 cents.
If that money doesn't go to that, can the committee pull that money back?
I don't think Eric can answer that one.
You're the legal matter at that point. Money's gone.
Well, could we not just, does the money have to run through them? Can we just contract a service on our own and set it up somewhere other than
You could probably be pretty creative with your funding, but that program has got to flow through somebody. The county isn't in the spay and neutering business, so I don't know if there's a mobile service that would set up and the county could pay them to be in here and do X number of spay and neuters. That's going to take a little research to figure out. You also, just throwing this out there, you also give to Beat the Heat, which I think has some of the same type of services. That might be another entity that's already existing, that's already a donation that you can consider, and it would be better to run that service through them than us contract with some other entity. Just throwing that out there for conversational purposes.
And I think that's not a bad idea. I would hate, it's kind of like staying in the valley and covering 50 beans. I hate to assume that they're going to do that without talking to the person.
Yes. Yeah, they'd have to be on board.
In the interim, how would you like to approach the committee? Would you like to leave it as is, wait to collect more information, amend at the full commission, or how would you all like to do that? To be honest, I've only started receiving calls in the last 3 days, 4 days. I have not had time to investigate the legitimacy of anything that's been said. So I don't want to react to word of mouth. If there's evidence, it's there. And I don't even know how we go about finding it other than.
How does that payout occur quarterly as well?
Yeah, get it done.
Is that one that if, so on July 1st, if paperwork was submitted and turned in, they'd be eligible for first quarter payment?
Yeah, first quarter is eligible within the July, August, September period. Second quarter will be eligible until October 1, January 1, and April 1, your 4 installment dates.
So the commission, so I guess the commission could stipulate the 30,000 be paid out for spay and neuter services with receipts turned into your office quarterly?
If
For
you're
services provided?
gonna go on that basis, I think it would be simpler to do on a reimbursement basis. They bring me the receipts for proof, and then the contribution will match the receipts turned in.
They bring them to you? or-
Yeah.
So 30,000 contribution paid out upon receiving receipts for services provided.
Yes.
As long as you're a Hawkins County resident.
That's gonna be hard to stipulate, because they would have to be the ones that police that.
Yeah. I'm not seeing their people, so I mean,
Be hard to track.
you can't give a stipulation on me that when I don't interact with their clients. I like the intent of that, Danny, but I don't know how I would ever govern it.
Can you go ID everybody?
Well,
No, it would have to be for Hawkins County, because that's where this money's coming from originally. And like where Commissioner Gibson is, you might not see a result overnight, but you will eventually see results on this spay and neuter. But I do think that there needs to be a way that, it's Hawkins County taxpayers only, citizens of Hawkins County.
it's an interesting approach because the overcrowding is a direct relation to the lack of spay and neutering. And so if you attack the root of the problem, there may not be as much of an overcrowding dilemma.
Should we ask them to make a copy of the driver's license?
Well, I know it's on a much smaller basis, but when somebody comes in and reserves a pavilion at the park, Stephanie makes sure to get a copy of their driver's license via email or whatever to make sure that we don't charge Hawkins County residents for it. There won't be as many of these as there would be to take advantage of the spay and neuter, but I would think that the Humane Society folks could ask for it.
I mean, the burden of proof would be on whoever's the one collecting the information, providing the service, not
Right.
on Eric, not on whoever. So I mean, that could be a request that's. That, you know, they collect the information, and then in order to be eligible to qualify for the free spay and neuter, you've got to be a county resident. I think that would be more of a way for us to, like, if we designate it where they have to provide the receipts for the spay and neuter service, then in order to even get it to us, they've already had to be a county resident, check that at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
that makes that's almost like you're setting up a fund base of county funded spay and neuter to address the problem, like Mr. Ellis said. That's when you provide that ID, that burden of proof that they're going to check. Now you've got access to this free spay and neuter program.
And I think being with a desire for them to be a professional organization, that shouldn't be a
Shouldn't be a
problem.
problem.
So how, procedurally, how do we do that, Eric?
I guess if you all would just make a motion stating a summarized version of what you just said, then that's how we pass it as such.
All right, so, Ms. Sarah, are you ready?
I'm ready, you can go slow.
All right. Mr. Coleman? Are you going to make the
Are
motion?
you ready?
Yes, well, I'm trying to think of a verbiage on how to. I'll make the motion for the 30,000 contribution for spay and neuter services with documentation showing Hawkins County residency and money to be reimbursed for services provided. Does that work?
I think that,
To go into effect July 1.
Yeah, this fiscal year or, yeah, 2024 fiscal year.
Can you repeat that last part, please?
To go into effect 2024 fiscal year.
Before that.
Oh.
Spay neuter services, as far as I got. Just remember, I'm writing here, and I did not have shorthand in high school.
provide spay and neuter services for free to Hawkins County residents with receipts of services provided along with residency documentation.
First.
She won't ask. We have a reporter.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
I'll second that.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded, and once Sarah gets it written down, I'll ask her to read it again, just so that we have it clear.
Okay, I have a motion for the $30,000 contribution to be made for spay and neutering services free to Hawkins County residents with receipts for services provided.
Can we add the Hawkins County Humane Society's name in there? Are you all okay with that?
And residents need to show proof of documentation, residency documentation in Hawkins County.
Okay.
Okay, you ready, Ms. Sarah? All right, any discussion? Seeing none, will you call the roll, please?
Jason Roach.
Yes.
John Gibson.
Yes.
Danny Elvis.
Yes.
Tom Kern.
Yes.
Joshua Gillum.
Yes.
And Robbie Palmer.
Yes.
6 yes, motion carries.